All right, welcome back. Now to one very particular conversation I believe is of interest to those of you who own cars and motorcycles. There are a lot of concerns being raised by people, but before I introduce who we'll be having this discussion with, I'd like to urge you or invite you to watch this video my colleagues Flint, Isiedu, and Echo-san put together. Let's take a look.
A brat for the last two. And your high buffalo, and your training for. And so, you were basa, execution entertainment.
Because it's kind of marginal. In fact, I know I did. Was a car with the car plan, maybe I'll be parking plan, we never been parking. And so we try to really. A disc here, so you never grant your parking your car, tell a car, Ukuta car. Now say we have car, say. Let's say a seat, a crown one. As a car, Mutimima is kind of marginal. Mutimima towing car, and ever change. Because roadway, engine on roadway. Now, towing car, Chicano, let your cossy baby here amount. What I say, Santa GT, your GT, your cry, you are best 4 or 5 GT, GW, GX, wow, it's only 74, 74, 74. What I say, and see, I know the problem you say, and a chatting, will be our need. Any money the better man share any money fine. It's a enemy said that as will be an need.
First now, Sabi, you can say you will be Jimmy Bremosono. Then Tessa, Obenam pass from out to Kumasu, the same number. Eddie. Nasanya, you see computer banner. And I remember who said, Sanya Moweba. And I'm Sabi, Obu won't say motor number. A pure motor number. Set some car number is 6311. With the young Fatu, who won't say will be moto, and also 6311. Obaka Tokano, agent to be the back of command say, one far number way at the Wakwa. Also, no more chances to know, and your pepe. Who won't say Ukoyika, no the back, no the number. Who won't say, what's on Fosso? The brave, if you got some. What's on forecast across one promo? What's on forecast across one promo? It's a look so count and the numbers near me. See it to me, and just at the mano and a casana, Sabi and penny for no diano. Who was a number, me, my quadrant number, me, my register number AS 42 say, who wants a penny bizuka, a ususa, and so about me, young chipenicano, and it's a Saturday number plate to know. I had been.
Program to say Ukoya Lances here, grade 1, grade 2, A, B, C, San Echo. And now Ukoya Lances, if you take a pen cafe, a bemount, a B, a C, an ID, a B near the bedding, a bemount beginning answer. By the beginning, police is so treasure on my own for being and Yajuma. And Tina Panos or Jumon, so what pattern was already. Or bear now, what was the Lances here, most of money. I do my best on fast islands and continues on a drew a high cacra. In Kanya Ghana, Hakuranka minimum car A, enum car 17, enum car 18. Because Mimijina, minimum year, Bruni di Modi, KS way. Bacano be drew Ghana Hanuma. Na, ya quite lances a can year now. If you can't be do or mine moon. Now I lances an old Ghana happen and who's had and because Bini, me who be a country BM. And the car, minimum carada, and once obey and fine. Asa. One woman carrying and daddy. No query, dear. Ye be Biabacoy. Benuquena dead, dear. Or Brenna woman. A beer bressa. As a penna at the one she eba or manu. Who look say way at the fitter, but now I jar the fitter of Fadi Coco. We are the two, no, I jar Akofa, idea say, and Sisofa. Yes, I pay bad me. The Omuna say, Omudin acquainted to Lance's office. Uncle Yen and I am better. Tis a Lance's say, baby, a fake.
Lances be na go west no muji wa wonim na wo na wo lances na wo de ma ma maza unye we bon se na police chi wa say we are fake so that ebiani roadway they say one more no one more number bi o mo bo a na dey si so sai anya adwuma pe yasi roadway tin nya papa in na fi wan mimi this kind economy ko try you mimi nim say papa na nya papa
roadway the roadway na ngasa yes man you okutwa go car ni bi o shop no asuma ko twa roadway na ba ya fa car no nko particular say the car call lances officer for twa roadway no ntina bu aka dada bi wo na okura roadway to de nam because on fa car no nko o do ko no akutwa on ade pa no ko no akutwa na ma so ya dem okwa and one amana tells you be carried to be German. So, and at times, any never be a fake. Oh, even on your Lance Quampa, you Lance Qua, you must fake. Go back with soon back on some way, because one call the right person, one call, and for process name. One your lances. That's all the lances and go so be so. Well, so on your mawa, over to my fake lances, I amount. Do go was a person who lances now. Owns a lance fake, no actual. So this is roadway so it be a fake. We don't you can ye. Lance office for no more the price number. Me a down because I'm quite the man. I can say it's okay new lances. Grandpa. Break and son of what marry. Lance now I will not quite renew. No. First is about 4 months and I renew lance and easy. So the baby I don't know. I pursue a major man so one can enjoy. Can 15 minutes, go on your beat. No, so better drive the Cologne Jenny. And so on your summer, not in Sembe Bride. Abba,
Mestre, say DVLA. No one buy a share a car registration home, some license and 17. Your best stress, say, the ATM and woman as a phone in our was 7 as a point. O quite new real no. Say nobody will be better for you, mamma, or say, Scar, someone as a phone. Omo ma ho kwan e ma bia me ankasa metumi akwakoye bet no delay abeba mu ni na support ma me so me pen ntem a o se me ma obi boa na ma sane ma na support nyina eba enti no aban ne hwe se omba ekwan no beda ho ne mu badwo me ba ni mu a aban no behwe no waya ma me ntem so ne sika na kwa aban ho o be boa man no be boa ye se bia me ba ye betwe mu kwana ba kwana branso no sika no konkodi aban ho mfa nya putuduma mfa boa man ne de eno so emboa nti won hwe no nyi sa oma emu na ho flexible man de ba ni sori na oba ne lance ya wono kasa aban ni mu baba be ye genuine lance sika wa ba ni ma baba ye genuine sika na baba no futu no mu be boa man na be boa ye
nti mpanyifo no nkasa no aya na wo momboa ye omo masika ni ndi o mu enim too much ayesa edombo abuso ngem yankopon obade me nipa wo ya papa wo ni bebi a wokọ wo ya bonu so a wo ni bebi a wokọ omudu sika chi bebre a obi o se wo ya wonkitatu esi yese no esintuo nti ya pamochaw echire nso kaso a wudu Liberia camp fi fete eba Liberia camp se wo manwu se oho no tembia traffic Saturday se masa enye yise nso se mpenifo no akọ ban mu nti se wo fi wo base ya akwani dem fine na wonya tela Liberia camp kakra pe bo se traffic anye obia a police fo na ejina ho eji kakra ese o mubutu ama traffic wonya tra ho pe asa ti pa mu cho yankasa o mu ncheke ye aye o mu ejima o mu ye na o mu ma mre ni nye ejima obegin so a won kwaji na bebi a pipe so obekọ nchen wan fa bebi a man dia obedile wo time.
Okay, so clearly there is a lot to do in this country, but then let me know what you think on Facebook and Instagram at Daily Guide Network, or with me at Amulis Brown on Instagram. I have Palgrave Boakye Danquah, Executive Director of the Kandifo Institute, to share some sentiments on this and other pressing topics on the minds of Ghanaians. Mr. Boakye Danquah, thank you for coming.
Thank you too for having me, and a very good morning to all your viewers and listeners around the world. It's always good to be here.
It's always good
and
to have you.
You look very good. I like your fabric.
Thank you. Anyway, so you just saw a very heartbreaking video put together by, of course, my colleague Flint and then Echo Sam. Thank you, guys. But first of all, did you go through this hectic process in getting your license?
So I've been driving for 22 years now, and so the first time I had my license, I'm not sure I struggled in the manner in which a lot of people did.
Okay.
And then the license would expire after 3 successive times, and then you have a new one. I haven't had any of those challenges.
Okay.
Until recently when my license got missing. So I needed to make a police case. And then I went through the VIP processes because you can pay for a VIP process.
Right.
Then they gave me a temporary license, which would expire.
How long ago was this?
This is this year.
Okay.
Yes, which would expire in June. But every now and then I keep going to ask if my card is ready. And they said it's not ready. If it's ready, I would receive a text message.
But you've paid?
I've paid. I've actually even paid for Express. Yes, I paid for Express, but it's not ready. I think that we cannot discount the issues that are arising gradually. When you have people share podcasts, then you cannot do politics around it. Because these are people on the ground who are sharing challenges that they have with a particular agency.
Yes.
I think that it bewails very much on the agency to step up their game.
They really need to.
I do not know how much and how long it will take for cards to be printed. We've been in this country. We've seen how when you're in the tertiary university, when you print an ID card, I mean the government did National Identification Authority within a very short time.
Minutes to get
you
that
have it,
done.
the Ghana card, you have it immediately. And so for a system of that nature, I think that they worry themselves by keeping people's cards. And whatever is wrong there, I'm sure Mr. Buzia, who is the CEO, needs to put his ears on the ground and make sure that the system within the environment is working. Because I'm very sure that over the years, we've seen how credible DVLA has been. We've seen how they have effectively decentralized. And so now you do not necessarily need to come to the central base, as we all knew it to be licensed officer 37. You can go to various places because they've decentralized quite a bit. I believe that it was during the dispensation of Honorable Joe Wise at the time when he was CEO before he became Deputy Speaker at Parliament. So a number of these reforms that have been placed over the years need to be sustained. So the challenge and the concern is that when reforms are made and it's not sustained, then it's a waste of everybody's time.
It is.
And it's a concern as well to see that people have different number plates, and as well people have same number plates for different types of vehicles.
It still baffles my mind till date because they are actually given out by the same authority, I believe.
So really, there needs to be a stronger audit within the system to find out who is issuing double number plates to different persons. So if someone is having a type, your license comes with a type A, type B,
yes,
B1, B2,
yes,
type
yes.
C, depending on the vehicle that you're driving. I mean, it's either it's a motor, a tricycle, or it's a four-wheeler, or it's a truck, or it's a tipper truck, so they give you those licenses according to what you're driving. Likewise, number plates as well goes according to. But it's a major concern when you start seeing that, yes, I mean, someone is having a motorcycle and has the same number plate as someone driving a four-wheel drive or someone driving a saloon car, then it's a major concern. It means that there are other persons that are either reproducing number plates without the notice of the authority. If that is so, those persons need to be taken out of the system. If it's also within the system where people are doing this because of their own selfish interest to be able to make money.
People are
How
hungry,
much money can you make? How much money can you make from doing a double number plate? I mean, I think that integrity demands that you call forth what is right. I mean, if you are hungry, how much food can you eat in a day? I mean, the minimum wage goes to about maybe 11 cedis per day. How much food can you eat? And I think that we shouldn't allow our gluttony to go ahead of our own intellectual capabilities. I mean, we need to be able to ensure that people that have been employed do the work. I mean, if people are employed and they do the work and they are not looking for other means of income within the same environment, I think that we'll be able to have a country that is befitting for everyone.
Indeed. But another mind-boggling conversation was when most of the drivers raised an issue on cars being parked at home, but then being given a roadworthy. How are they going to know that the cars indeed are roadworthy?
So you see,
this is Ghana.
Yes, you know.
And this actually comes in at a time where we are all trying to fix the country.
So you see, it's a major concern because I think that everyone has been a culprit before. And I'll tell you why. And it's not an excuse for you to park your vehicle in the house and send your papers or send one of your staff or your colleagues or your son or your daughter, your nephew and niece to go to DAVLA to get you a roadworthy. Sometimes, and it's not an excuse, but sometimes people drive their vehicles there and they don't have the space to be able to even check the vehicles.
That's correct.
And so it's a systemic issue.
That's
it's a system of space. And so then people are like, well, I think my vehicle is roadworthy. I think I've bought my vehicle under a year or two. And so why not? Let me just send it. But it's not appropriate. And so which is why I think DVLA decentralized roadworthy accessible points. So I know the number of points. There's one at Kuntinsi, there's one at Dome Pillar 2, there's one on the main Frafraha or Yarifa Road. And so there are a number of decentralized places that people can go to. But as it may, it means that if people are not coming, then we need to ask the question, why are they not coming? Is it that when they come, they spend long hours? And so if they spend the long hours, can those long hours be reduced? But then also a lot more education needs to go in, because when you go, there's no total waste of your time. I have taken my vehicle to ensure that it's roadworthy.
Did you know someone from there?
No, I mean, I don't know anybody anywhere.
To
be honest, I don't know anybody anywhere. I go and I queue just as everybody does.
You know, I know the reason why I'm asking this. Yes, you have to know someone.
No, I think that we need to stop glorifying and praising the whom you know system. Once we stop glorifying and praising it, I think it's going to become a canker in this country.
It has come to stay.
I don't think so. I don't think that we need to glorify it to say that it's become a culture and it's come to stay. I think that we need to ensure that everybody is given an equitable share of the resources. Everybody is given an equitable share of services. I mean, there's no need jumping the queue because it's going to get to your turn. I'll tell you something. You know that we had an opportunity to do the second vaccination for the COVID.
Right.
I'll tell you, I was totally awestruck when people had to queue. It reminded me of days when you needed to travel outside the country and you wake up at dawn at 1 a.m. and you go and queue when the councillors are going to wake up at 9 a.m. and they come. And yesterday when they come, they'll bounce your visa. So I did my second vaccination at Rage because that's where I did my first one.
Right.
And so I got there around 5:30 a.m. And I was number 9. People had gone to queue. And the persons that had gone to queue for people. I mean, for crying out loud, why do we do this? You know, but I was happy to see that the nurses at Rage said, if you know you're not going to be vaccinated and you're coming to queue for someone, that number is invalid. I mean, I was quite happy to see that.
Okay.
But we ourselves are our own problem. And if the moment we start fixing our own self and ensuring that whatever systems has been put in place is working, I think that this whole conversation on whom you know, and who you know, the big man you know, I keep asking myself, who is a big man, who is a big woman? Because I can't seem to understand what that concept is.
Right.
And the moment we begin to say that, look, there's no big manism, there's no big womanism, you need to be able to go through the system. If you have failed an exam, there's no big manism to be able to get you admission to the university. If you have not passed a driver's license test, there's no need to have a big manism or big womanism to be able to give you a license. It's as simple as that.
That is not working.
The systems in the first world countries must be imported into the third world developing countries for us to be able to develop. If not, I think that's a waste of everybody's time. We should pack our things and go home.
Where?
Well, where else can we go to?
We are home. So where exactly are we going
where
to?
Where else can we go to?
Anyway, so another issue that Mr. Boakye Danquah, do you think that perhaps these authorities should start checking into the mental health or the health background of drivers before issuing out licenses. Because believe you me, when you're driving in town, especially here in Accra, the kind of recklessness you see on our roads, it's just baffling. It's baffling. You wonder, are these people really like okay, or they're just having a bad day? Do you think they should start doing that?
So, you know, Sharon, I'll tell you the truth. Early this morning at about 3 a.m., I was reviewing a paper that Kandifo Institute is working on as it relates bipolar. And we know very well that the number of persons that go through depression and the number of factors that causes depression.
Right.
And if those factors are not taken into consideration, obviously you would have persons that have an opportunity to sit behind the wheel because some people don't own vehicles, but they sit behind the wheel. Some people own vehicles and then they sit behind the wheel. Right. And so the opportunity of everyone sitting behind the wheel is important for themselves, is important for other road users, it's also relatively important for the passengers that they carry.
Right.
And as I reviewed the paper, I think that the conversation is important for every single stakeholder to come into it. The Ghana Health Service, the Ministry of Health, needs to be able to come to play to ensure that the psyche of every single driver is safe. Because if the psyche of a single driver is not safe, it's calamity for everyone.
But they don't do that.
Which is why I'm stating that it's important that it becomes a policy issue. And so beyond checking your eye, I'll tell you the truth. I've done a number of eye tests. Now I know every single letter on the table. It's true. I mean, because the last line on the table are Z, S, O, T, U, and those are very, very, very tiny. But I've done it severally, so I know it. And so imagine other persons that have done it severally and then they know it. So beyond the eye test, which is done at the various units when you are getting your license or you're ensuring that you're roadworthy and all of that is working, there should be other setup system. Right. Maybe a counseling session if you've gone through an accident before, moments where maybe your license is seized from you and all of that. Those processes must go through. So maybe it's about time we set up units that will be able to hold clinical conversations with passengers, because some passengers go through trauma. Yes. And some drivers also go through trauma. So when you go through those traumatic moments,
it affects you.
It does affect you. But as it affects you, you need to ensure that you're having conversations and a healing process. Sometimes people drive and there's so much noise in their vehicle. I have been particularly concerned with these vehicles that ply our road, Accra Kumasi, Accra Takrady, Accra Bolga, with a TV set in it. I don't know how it happened. I don't know where. I don't know where we learned that from, but it's a total distraction for the driver and even for the passengers. Because if there's a particular reaction in the scene, you can imagine if everybody begins to shout and the driver panics. Yes. That's like 33, 35 people at risk. And so we need to, and it's trickled down to even gone to these 207, now even putting those screens, because it doesn't even come with a vehicle, but I've seen that passengers like it. So it's become a commodity. And I think that we need to stop these issues. So the DVLA has a number of services that they render. They need to also begin to start thinking outside the box and going into working very closely with GPRTU, ensuring that vehicles that you don't need to watch television on a moving vehicle for a 200-kilometer road journey. You don't need that. I mean, if you have a smartphone, you can clock in onto your smartphone and entertain yourself. The driver needs the sound of mind, the peace of mind, the serenity, the environment to ensure that that driver can be able to carry persons from point A to point B. It's not a luxury. Much as it's even a luxury, the lives of other persons are at risk. And so which agencies must be responsible for this? It must be all the various stakeholder engagements must come to play. Ministry of Roads and Transport must come to play to ensure that all roads that are on the vehicle are good. They ensure that they're in a safe environment. MTTD, the police have a role to play because some of the movies are not even censored. Most of the movies that they show are not censored. And so National Film Agency must come into play. So there's a holistic conversation, and every sector leads into another sector. So once we have a sector that is failing, you can imagine The center cannot hold, like Tino Achibo will say, things are falling apart and there's chaos everywhere. But I believe very well in the system of this country. I do. I mean, that's why we are here.
I'm surprised.
That's why we are having the conversation. I'm extremely optimistic. I mean, the red, the yellow, the black star, the green is a beacon of hope. When in 1947, Dr. J.B. Danquah declared that Ghana is going to have independence, 10 years afterwards, Ghana gained independence, and it was a conversation between the British colony and the Ghanaian elites. They held a conversation that Ghanaians have become of age and they can be able to manage their own affairs. They handed over the country onto us. 3 years afterwards, 1960, Ghana had its first republic with the first Prime Minister, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. 64 years down the line, we are here with President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. I am extremely optimistic. Ghana has gone through a lot of meandering ways, but I believe in the younger generation. And I believe that as we come along, we will not repeat the old mistakes of the older generation.
I hope we do not. And I'm hoping that the right authorities are watching us and the right thing will be done. Now, Galamsey, an act that has cost us a lot, including the lives of innocent people, only struggling to make ends meet. We'll hear the story of one gentleman who has turned over a new leaf after so many years of engaging in this act right after this break. Please stay.